going on, guys? On YouTube land, Bonafide Hustler here, and also on Facebook land. I have two kind of things open up right now. So anyway, this is just a Bonafide open Q&A. I realize it's getting really hard to get back to a lot of people on some of the video comments and stuff like that. So I decided to make an open Q&A just to say, hey, what's up? What's up, Matt? And yeah, if you're watching this from YouTube or Facebook, you can find it two different places. But yeah, a Bonafide open Q&A, anything kind of goes. Just let's see, what to leave out? Super true finances or anything like that. No, we probably won't talk about that. Might talk a little bit about relationship with wifey if you guys want to hear about that. But the normal things that are kind of off limits. So if you're a proper kind of person, you can pretty much figure out what those things are. But I do want to do an open Q&A and answer any questions out there that people might have regarding whatever, things I'm working on, things that I'm involved with, active things, whatever you guys want. I'm really trying to test out two different things right now, the Facebook thing and the YouTube thing, plus this really nifty stand I have going on right here, plus this light that's beaming right on me. So I'm testing out a bunch of stuff because I will be going live on my other channel soon in a format similar to this, and I wanted to make sure that it's all kind of going well. So I thought, good way to test it out with an open Q&A to my viewers. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Probably going to stay around for about 30 minutes, maybe 45 minutes, depends on how the Q&A goes. And yeah, it's kind of cold in this garage, so breathing a little shallow, but it is a little cold. So we have Matt Merrick, we have Sockhead. Hey, what's up, Sockhead? Good to see you. All right, here we got a lot of questions already coming through. Frank Geppetto. Let me shout out some people real quick. We got Casey Paris, what's up? Juan Rolando. We got Joshua Davidson. We have Jennifer M. And then Boondoggle Bliss, AZ Mick. It's good to see everybody out there. I'm going to try to get to as many questions as I can, okay? I'm going to try to answer them quickly. And, yeah, it's just probably my best attempt at getting, engaging with you guys as much as I can outside of live shows where I really don't get to go in the feed as fast as I want to. We have a first question from Joshua Davidson. Question, how do I stay calm when I'm outsourcing? I get super excited and I end up going all over the place and have a bit of anxiety. When I go sourcing, a lot of times now it's typically on the weekends, typically just garage sales. If I'm lucky during the week, I might have a day or so to go sourcing, but the things that I'm involved with right now require me a lot of times to be home or a coffee shop, and I'm working on something kind of secret in the background as well. But when I go out to thrift stores, it's typically on weekends where the weather's crappy. Anytime I'm really close to a thrift store, in fact, I went to one 2 days ago or something like that, got noticed by some random person. Actually, I was walking out with nothing in my hands, and that's kind of how thrift stores go. You don't always find stuff, guys. But how do I keep from being excited? It just depends on who I'm with, first of all, and second of all, I try to go into every thrift store that I can that's close to me at any given time. So if I am in Central Austin, there are a ton of thrift stores down there. I have a thrift store route that usually pays very, very well. I ought to do it every single day. I really should, but for me to go into Central Austin, it's about 15-minute drive or something like that, and then it might be 30 minutes coming back because traffic gets kind of crazy. But I stay calm because I don't ever try to get ahead of myself. I know my risk parameters, and I know what I know up here, right? So as long as I put myself in the scenario to actually be around the items, that is the most important thing, is that you know a whole lot and then you put yourself in the scenario, but you never get ahead of yourself and just go, I have to buy something today, or the month is tough, so I got to buy stuff. Don't ever think like that. That's being very reactionary, and you don't want to be reacting to anything. That's the easiest way to have a really bad pile, a death pile in your house, things that are not selling as fast. So just know your risk parameters, know what you're willing to get into, and know the money that you're willing to lose, because ultimately in the end you might lose the money, which typically never happens. But then again, if you're a beginner and you're intermediate, a lot of times you might go through some of those mistakes, and a lot of times that's what we try to that's what we try to teach in the green room and on Rakin's channel and my channel, is to make less mistakes essentially. So all right, I'll get another question right here. We have 13 people on YouTube watching. I am looking here on YouTube. We have 13 people on Facebook watching. We have here on YouTube 35 people. We have a Poshmark sale from Pittsburgh. Mike, congratulations. Jesus Santiago says, what's up? Love your videos. I'm a reseller part-time. My full-time job is UPS. Thanks. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good job. I'm sure with UPS, you see all the Amazon Prime boxes that are out there. Anytime that you're really willing to do business with eBay or anything like that, try to mimic Amazon Prime as much as possible. Try to get your how do I say it? Your handling times down to like 1 day if you can, 2 days, and then ship everything out priority if you can. It's a little unfair for me to say that because I am in the center part of the country, and shipping priority to me doesn't like crush my wallet that bad. But I can understand if you're on the coastline somewhere that shipping priority might not be an option. Okay. What is going on? All right, so let me see some more comments here. Socket360, why don't I share sales numbers? I don't know. It's just one of those things that I don't think it's very important for me to share them out there all the time. It takes a lot more editing, even to put something out there that says like sold for this or sold for that. And that's one of the reasons why I've been backlogged with vlogs is that way, or ride-alongs, is so that way some of the stuff can sell and I can actually put some updated prices on there. But if you're in the green room, you see a lot of the stuff that I do. And sales ranks are one of those, how do I say it? Sales numbers are one of those ways for people kind of to like measure against each other. Like everything that's important. I don't ever brag when I get like 20,000 subscribers, 10,000 subscribers. It's usually a subscriber telling me like, hey, aren't you excited about 20,000 subscribers or 10,000 subscribers? And I'm not really excited about that. I try to stay as humble as possible. I don't want to ever get into like, what they call like the measuring contest. Like I don't ever get into that kind of stuff, like that. And I'm also working on a bigger project, which is the green room. And the green room is one of those things that takes a long time to get right. So I've been doing a lot of that and has been pulling me back from sourcing. That's clearly obvious. Everyone knows that. But essentially, yeah, that's why I try to stay as humble as possible. If I have a good flip or a good week or, good sort of items that people need to know about, I always show people what I sold it for, but then in the green room, I always tell them how can they find it too. I think that's very important, not to just sit there and boast and boast and boast, but to train so that people out there can also learn, how to do it as well. That's really important. So sales numbers are great, but if the person that's giving the sales numbers isn't giving you much of value in return, I don't really think that's kind of like a good thing to do. So anyway, it's one of those things that I just don't like to boast at all. I don't like to boast about anything. Like I just don't. It's just me. So, all right. Didn't get an alert. Darren, yeah, if you want to get an alert for these kind of things, if you're on YouTube, you can hit this bell next to the subscribe button. All right. Casey Paris, am I using 2 cameras to dual stream or 1 device? I'm using 2. So I have my cell phone open on one. I have my computer camera on another. Casey, I know what you're thinking. See, I know the gears are turning on Rockstar Flipper's head right here. He's starting to think a lot of things here. Juan Rolando says, Bonafide Hustler, this is from Facebook. FYI, you're just one of the first YouTubers that made me start looking at boots. And since I first started I started watching your videos a few years ago, and I've literally made thousands from your advice. So that's what it's all about. You know what I'm saying? Like it's important that when I have a good boot flip or something like that, that it's, sometimes makes it on YouTube. A lot of times it finds itself into the green room, and I explain exactly why I buy the boots that I buy. So in my wall, my boot wall, not my boot wall, but my shoe wall over here, let me see how many boots I have right now. I got a pair of Vibrams right here. Don't know if you can hear me, but the boots almost never fit into the actual shoe boxes, the priority mail shoe boxes. So boots are typically above my shoe wall because they're in like odd shaped boxes. So I would venture to say that I probably have 5 pairs of boots right now on sale on eBay. I think at this point I have about 7 pairs of cowboy boots in my antique booth, which sucks. Like I'm not proud of that part because they sell quickly and I cannot replenish them in time, like enough times. Like they're just hard to find at garage sales right now. And it's because garage sales have also had a semi-micro dry spell in Austin, Texas for the past 2 months. But I do run a booth in Austin, Texas. I don't physically run it, but I do put boots there. And yeah, I try to find them as much as possible, all the way up to about $10 at a garage sale. I'm willing to pay for a decent pair of boots because I know in my booth, the worst of the worst ones, even with holes on the bottom, will sell for about 26. And then the most I've ever sold a boot for in my booth has been like, I think 58 or so, 60-ish, something like that. And you have to understand that the really good boots don't make them to they don't make it to my antique booth. The ostrich, Scotch gray and calf, like goat, all that would be an eBay type item. So, okay. Boondoggy Bliss, would you be mad if I created a pink room like the green room concept? I don't really care what anybody creates. I think as long as you guys are always thinking, what can I do with this extra money I make? What can I do with my extra time that I save because I'm hustling smarter? I think you guys should always start something on the side with something that you're very passionate about, all right? So it's very important to I think reselling is one of those great means to an end kind of things, and I still love doing it. I just don't do it to the extent that I used to, but you should always be thinking of different ways, because in this marketplace that we live in right now, or in this life that we live right now, the digital ways of making money is just so vast. So, you got to explore out there, okay? Don't just be sticking there and go like, I'm only going to sell on Craigslist, or I'm only going to sell on eBay. Don't get caught up in your business. Don't be drowning in your business. Always, always try hard to experiment and to go wide and to go far, all right? What's up, Yves Tessier? Good to see you. Timothy Sandow, this is from Facebook. Timothy says, you gave me the idea to start selling sports equipment to pawn and consignment stores. See, I've been doing really well with that. Thanks. You're welcome. So the consignment store that I talk about here in my videos mostly is Played Again Sports. I know I have a check to pick up over there, but I haven't picked it up. I just let it build up. But they do have a decent amount of my bats, just really cheap, stupid bats. But, when the season comes, they actually sell down there. They have some of my lacrosse helmets, some of my ski snowboard helmets. What else do they have in mine? They have some of my Frisbee golf discs, but those I've sold to them. So they don't have that. They actually own those. What else do they have in mine? Some football gear, some football helmets, I want to say maybe some pads, just random stuff that has to deal. See, like the big three sports here in Austin, Texas, we have football, baseball or softball, and then lacrosse. Lacrosse is kind of big. So the Played Again Sports here will have a lot of that kind of stuff, plus Frisbee golf discs. So I don't know how your town is, but here in this town, Frisbee golf discs are literally like an entire wall of the store. In fact, the next time I go in, it's not a whole wall, but it's half of the wall of the store. And the store is like a boxcar type, like linear store. So half of that wall is Frisbee golf disc. It's kind of crazy. Darren Eckelman. Okay, Chris, you should do videos on what we can source to sell at pawn shops. I could do that video. I haven't done much pawn shop sourcing in the past like 6 months, but I can do that video because I remember. That's actually one of the ways that I started 12 years ago. Was I was flipping bikes that I found from Goodwills and thrift stores and Salvation Armies and any thrift store that I could find in town. And then one day I was on I-35 in Austin, Texas, around 38th and a half Street, and I saw a pawn store called King Pawn. Decided to walk into it. I was kind of bored. And then I saw an Orbea bike there, a couple other random stuff, and I was like, wow, they sell bikes at pawn stores. This is cool. I actually ended up buying that Orbea bike, and I sold it for a little bit of a profit. Orbea is a really good brand, by the way. And that's kind of what started the pawn shop hustle for me. But there were times, because I used to run a territory back in the day for consulting. It was a consulting job. I used to run a territory, and I had a minivan. And on the weekends, I would take all my point of sale merchandise out of my minivan, throw it into shelves in my garage, and thus the minivan would be empty. And then I would go to pawn stores with my ex-girlfriend, like all the time. I would try to fill the minivan up with as many bikes as I could fill up. And usually I'd come back with about 5 from a trip. And that's pretty good. 5 is pretty good. 5 to work on. Took me about 5 or 6 hours to work on them. And then I would be flipping them for like no less than like $80 profit each. So that was on top of making like a near 6-figure salary, or basically 6-figure salary at that time. So that was really big pawn shopping for me. Back then, I expanded into pawn shopping until about, I don't know, 1 or 2 years ago. And then I kind of tapered off from that. And so that's where I am now. I can still go in, and I still go in every now and then. The last item I picked up from a pawn shop was 3 weeks ago, a tennis racket, a Wilson one. I was in with my brother. You'll see it on a ride along. But anyway, that's my pawn shop kind of like latest experience. Wisconsin thrift. I would love to answer that question. Don't know if I can. I'm kind of off boundaries on incomes and all that kind of stuff. But let me get some more questions here answered. Ricardo Garola says, I never did pawn shops. I think they would be selling at the same price I'm trying to sell for. Essentially, they kind of are. But pawn shops come down to timing, right? And it comes down to business relationships. So the better your business relationship is, and the better your timing is of the day or the month, right? Because they all have daily sales goals and stuff. So if you come on like a rainy day on like a Tuesday at 2 p.m., they still got to make a sales goal for the end of that day. And it's one of those things that you go in there, if you know the person right, they'll be like, what can I make a deal with you, man? Like, what's up, Chris? Like, what can I make a deal? What kind of deals can we make today? Like, I've had those kind of conversations with numerous pawn shops. I used to go to almost exclusively pawn shops for like the longest time, but it was almost exclusively bicycles as well. So, and it was like random other stupid things like lake-related goods like wakeboards. It was other random little things that I just knew about, shortwave radios, stupid things. But yeah, it was mostly bikes. So, you know, don't ever let the fear of a pawn shop scare you. I've been to pawn shops on every coastline. So yeah, east, west, here in Austin, and I think we might have even been in Naples, Florida. I don't know, but they're all the same, right? They're all the same, and they all kind of have that like upper category of items. So you're never going to find super junk in pawn shop. Well, yes, you will, but like you're not going to really find super junk in pawn shops like you do at garage sales. Like pawn shops they want to engage with items that will make them money. Like they're not going to buy cheap things. They're not going to be buying Kobe headsets or Kobe boom boxes or things like that. They're going to be buying good stuff. So, all right, let me see what else we got here. We got more questions. Any more questions? Casey Paris, like an avid pawn shopper, aka Rockstar flipper. And yes, they're almost always negotiable, almost always, unless you pop into the pawn shop at a perfect time when they're just getting an item out, and you don't have that business relationship set up, then they could be like, yeah, you know, this just came out. Usually they can like take off the tax, usually. But if you're within the first like 10 days, at least here in Austin, Texas, or 15 days, I think it's 14 actually, first 14 days, then usually they only take tax off. And then after that, they kind of work with you. Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me, by the way. And there's an excellent question from Mike Van Tall. When are we going to see some more bod damn vids? So if you look at the very beginning of this video, I said that I'm testing out this entire whole setup right now for my other channel, which is bod damn, which is the gym channel with all the, you know, workout stuff. So that's coming around really, really soon, and I'll likely be double streaming some live stuff nearly every day, workout related, you know, sweating it out in the sweat box, having some fun, and teaching you guys how to stay fit. So that was one of the reasons also I wanted to do this show today, is so I can test out this entire setup I have going on. Easy Mix says I have good sound. That's good. Thank you so much, because that was one of my that was one of my questions or concerns. Juan Rolando, I still have a fitness channel. I do. It is called Bod Damn. It's a play on words, so BODDAMN. Cool. Nika Bonnet, do I ever put out posts on Craigslist or Facebook looking for items? I do. Every now and then. It just depends. Like, 'cause there's always a million things that you can do to make money, okay? And this is one of the ways you can do. You can put a post out there like, I buy this, I buy that. One of the other ways to make some interesting kind of money is to, if you have a good item that you've picked up and you know it's something that's in high demand in your town. Let's say for this town, Austin, Texas, we have lake-related goods. We have hunting is pretty popular here in Austin, Texas, ranch stuff. What else? Other random stuff, you know, tools, of course. You could put those things on trade, all right? Like barter, sell, trade kind of thing on Craigslist. That's kind of interesting too. I've gotten some crazy things just from doing that. But like I said, there's a million ways to make money out there. There are a million ways to make money. There's just not a million minutes in a day to capitalize on every single way to do it. So I try to spend my time on the things that best suit my personality, what I know, and what returns the best ROI to me with money versus time. And so that's one of those things that, yeah, I could put out ads all the time, wanted this, wanted that. I still check Craigslist like nearly every single day for a good bike flip or something like that. What else am I checking Craigslist for lately? Whitney wants to buy a new car soon. So instead of buying new, I'm definitely trying to find a certified pre-owned or something from a dealership, and dealerships always advertise through Craigslist. What else am I looking? My search terms are that, new inbox, won in contest, wake surfboard, because I want a wake surfboard for the summer. Certain bikes that I always look up because certain people just unload them for pretty cheap and they just don't know what they have. It just depends. So yeah, anyway, let me go to the next question from Carlos Delgado from YouTube. Do I recommend antique booths in addition to eBay? Antique booths are one of those things, like I've been to antique booths all across the country and some are really terrible. In fact, I would say a large majority of the antique booths that I've been into, I don't know if I would ever want to do business in those places. So you have to have traffic. That's the most important thing. Traffic is super important. And more importantly, what kind of traffic do you have? Because if you have old person traffic, then you want to deal with old person type stuff, like, you know, things that were good in their day. If you have new style traffic, which is like up and coming kind of people, you have hipsters. And that's what Austin has, right? Austin has up and coming hipsters. So no surprise that cowboy boots sell all the time. Pearl snap shirts sell all the time. Vintage t-shirts, vintage sleeveless t-shirts or tank tops. Trucker hats, really good. I mean, so it really depends. And plus window frames, all that kind of stuff sells out the door real quick, because these people are trying to make their house and their attire and whatever they wear like a very unique kind of thing. So we have, you know, if you take a look at my antique mall that I'm a part of, it's almost all people that are like sub 50 years old, right? And in fact, there's a large portion of people that are younger, young and coming, up and coming, I don't know, youngsters, that's what I meant to say. So there's a lot of those kind of people in there as well. All right, but yeah, be careful. Like when you get into an antique booth, you got to make sure that your visibility of your booth, if you're going to engage with business, you're like, all right, the traffic is good, you know, the clientele is really good, and I have the items, I can find it, I can get it to this clientele. That's great. The last thing you want to make sure is that you get a good visibility booth. Okay, my booth is in one of the best four corners of the antique mall that and just stumbled upon that. It was luck, right? 5 or 6 years ago, that was completely lucky that I got a four corners section in the middle of the antique mall with tons of light on it. Like, it was the best booth I could have possibly pulled the trigger on as a first booth. They've offered me other booths down the road, and there's a huge waiting list to be in my antique mall, but I didn't take them because they were down aisles, all right? So there's an aisle and the booth was like over here on the side or over there on the side, not much light hitting it. And I don't like aisle booths very much because you walk right past them. I don't like that. When people come to a four corner kind of intersection, they don't just go zooming through it. They go to the four corners, they start looking around all over the place, and eventually you see my booth. It's well lit. That's the reason why I pulled the trigger on my booth. Well, let me backtrack. That wasn't the reason I pulled the trigger on the booth. I pulled the trigger on the booth because I was eager to make money and eager to try something new. But it just so happened that it was a really badass booth that I got into in my first part of the antique selling business, primarily driven because of American Pickers, the show. I'm going to be completely honest. The American Pickers show on History Channel like really motivated me to try to find some cool stuff, go on picks, which I've done, and you know, start a booth from scratch, which I did. So, okay. All right, what other kind of questions do we got going on here? Oh man, there's just a bunch. Casey says, how do you feel about marketplace Facebook or selling or buying and traffic size? I don't mess with Facebook market anything right now. It goes back to like I said, there's a million things to like, there's a million ways to make money. I don't have a million minutes in my day to like figure out each and every one. One of the ones that I think I'm gonna engage a little bit more into, okay, because my upload limit's only 2 shirts a day right now, is merch. I like merch because, and here's my kind of philosophy on merch. Go to udemy.com, udemy.com. It's a place where you can get a bunch of online courses. Take an online course for Illustrator, right, which is the Adobe program where you can make things in vector. Essentially, you can design fonts and whatever, and they can be pulled and contorted, but they never lose their actual, there's no pixels involved with vector. It's just, it's hard to explain. But anyway, so anyway, I believe that I wouldn't mind sacrificing half a week of my life to learn Illustrator super proficiently on a text-based level. And that way I can get into, you know, 2 shirts a day upload or maybe more. Last week I was at 1 shirt a day. For some reason now I'm at 2 shirts a day, which is cool. And I did upload all my Bonafide Hustler shirts on my merch account. So, you know, it's one of those ways. What I like about merch is that once you're done, you create it and it's finalized. It's out there in the market, and it may or may not sell, right? But if you're good with trends and you're good to see like what is selling, then it has a good chance, right? It has a good chance of making some pretty interesting money behind the scenes. And so I kind of like that kind of setup because I can do it off a laptop. I can do it away from home. I don't have to have any on-site inventory. And it doesn't involve me taking trips to and from post office or going to and from antique booth. It's interesting. It's an interesting form of income that I believe will only get bigger. But I believe also that you have to put a little bit of work into it because this tiny amount of maintenance that is needed, I think, is what saved me from not getting booted off Amazon. A lot of people on merch that just started merch and they're like, they didn't do anything with it, got booted off. Like their merch accounts got revoked and canceled. So I made sure to not have that happen, which was good. And so I'm always going to try to put the bare minimum until I realize this could be a really interesting avenue to keep pursuing on a long-term basis. Because I really do feel like merch is going to go into like mugs, sweaters, crazy stuff, bumper stickers, just everything. So I think it's something to look forward to, and it's something that I might mess with. Carlos Delgado says, smash that like button. Yeah, I definitely would like that. Thank you so much. Use test here. Do I have any trouble with copycats on merch? I don't know. I don't ever cross-check my designs or what I have made. I got to say that out of 15 designs that I've actually created about 3 months ago, 2 sold. 2 sold, and the other 13 got deleted out by Amazon. So, yeah, I don't know about copycats on that, but I assume they're going to be coming. If you could, dude, I was on merch yesterday and just looking up a Metallica shirt, just a random Metallica shirt. And there's so many down there. So yeah, they're going to copy you. If it's a good design and it's ranking high, it's going to get copied more than likely. Blue Gorilla Flipper, do I ship bikes? I ship bikes when I have the right bike. I haven't shipped, I think I only probably shipped 1 or 2 bikes in 2016. Shipping meaning it belonged on eBay and that's where I sold it. Otherwise, I flip majority of my bikes on Craigslist, or eMoney takes care of it like he did yesterday. Sold the bike literally like right outside the garage while I was rigging up for the garage sale haul video that I shot yesterday. So yeah, eMoney is kind of getting his bike game back to normal again. We got good used goods in the house, Black Hawk surplus. I see a lot of familiar faces. Rick Remix says, I failed the Round Rock. Okay, so here, check this out. This is Rick Remix. I've met him in real life. He was one of the very first subscribers I ever got coffee with back in the day. This is probably like 4 or 5 years ago. But anyway, Rick Remix says, I failed in an antique mall in a back aisle in Round Rock, and making only $220 in 3 months. So yeah, I mean, visibility is everything when you're in an antique booth. Just remember that it's always everything. And I think it's one of those things that I like having the antique booth because it allows me to not walk away from items that are large, vintage, retro, antique, that are at a garage sale. Case in point could be like a Coleman cooler, right? Coleman cooler, no more than usually $1 to $5 at a garage sale, steel belted, might have a little bit of wear and tear on it, medium, large sizes. And those are really nice. Those are really nice, even with the rust on them and everything. Put them in the booth. You know, the least I've ever sold one for, I believe, was like $30. So the least. So yeah, they've gone up to about, I want to say 68 or so, something like that. It's a pretty good turnaround. But you know, if I didn't have the antique booth up, I would never be able to move pro snaps the way I do, boots the way that I do, window panes, all the other random things that I talked about. It's just one of those interesting avenues that I have opened up to where I can still engage in that form of hustling. And yes, it's part of my income stream. It's a small portion. Okay, I'll tell it like that. All right, what's up, Show Enough? Good to see you. Yeah, Claire Barrow says you have to cross promote your booth items on social media to help sell. Really, I mean, like I said, a million ways to make money. There's always a million ways to do it. Right now, I'll let you guys know. If someone reminds me in about 10 minutes, I'll let you guys know kind of what the secret thing I'm working on is. But I'll let you guys know here in a second. We got some. All right, let me see here. Carlos and Gabby, do I prefer listing on Amazon versus eBay when I have the ability to? I don't mess. Okay, so here's a question. Do I prefer basically Amazon versus eBay? And I guess if you're going to compare those two, you're probably comparing MF, Merchant Fulfilled Amazon, versus eBay. I don't do Merchant Fulfilled Amazon. I do eBay. I mean, I do FBA and I do eBay. FBA for this year has been on hold for me because I'm trying to get my inventory kind of management down. Like, not because I have a pile anywhere around here. I don't. I probably have somewhere between 20 and 30 items to send in. And I also want to establish, see, this is one of these things that we talked about in the green room on an accounting course. And getting your accounting down, especially for FBA, is super crucial, all right? FBA is one of those businesses where you can scale up pretty good and SKUs start getting all kind of crazy, and it becomes an accounting nightmare at the end of the year. It really does. So I've taken it upon myself to not send anything in for at least up until now. I'll probably do a shipment tomorrow, but until I get my accounting in place for 2017, which I believe I have it down on my own kind of sheets and everything that I want to do my way. I figured it out. And so, yes, that's one of those things that I had to figure out, took some time. It just took me finding time to do it. And then now I'm going to finally go back to sending stuff in. So anyway, all right, let me go into, oh yeah, and if you're going to compare merchant fulfilled to eBay, I really like eBay. eBay is fun. At any given time, I have, 120 on the low end, 150 items on the high end. I'm not the best seller in the whole entire world. I don't have like 1 million items on there. I go with the philosophy that you guys got to send in good quality items that go with your risk parameters, right? Like my risk parameters are, I think for the most part, I get 85% of them right. Of course, there's like sour 15% where you're like, all right, like, you get an offer for something, you're like, all right, it's a little bit lower than what I ever thought I would get, but I don't care, I'm gonna push it out. So yeah, 15% of my items might land in that category, but the other 85% are those items that I really, really want to, it's a fun kind of avenue to mess with. And it's one of those avenues where I go into a thrift store and I almost test myself. Can I find something that gets within my risk parameters that can belong on eBay that won't sit in my store for, let's say, 3 to 6 months? So that's essentially what's going on in my head. I'm trying to think smarter, not trying to work harder. And of course, putting a lot of time now into the green room. Well, it's been for like the past year. And it's just one of those things. When I make eBay videos, I'm showing you guys pictures that are sometimes a year old, sometimes 6 months old. And in the green room, you're seeing things that are just almost real time. And it's one of those ways that I think is still a good way to connect with you guys, because the things that I have sold still have great markets, and the things that I've sold currently have great markets. So I don't try to get into anything that has a shady market. Like a shady market, that's the easiest way to get a death pile or boxes just sitting on your wall. You might be the most organized person, have all these boxes, but if nothing's selling, then that's not doing you any good. So definitely in 2017, that's one of my things I want to move forward with, is trying to get my business like 90% amazing decisions and 10% those decisions where I have to liquidate. So, all right. There we go. Smash the like button. Yes, I'm looking at both feeds right here from Facebook, and I am looking at YouTube. I have a question right here. Oh man, such a broad question. I don't think I can answer this in like one show, but Gio Selga says, how can I start selling online like eBay? I have trouble selling items on eBay because I didn't have any ratings yet. And also, how do you ship cheap? Okay, so I think this comes with experience. How do you ship cheap? There's no real answer to that. One of the answers is you try to get the tightest box you can possibly find that has the adequate amount of shipping material in it versus the item that's inside the box. So don't ever put a small item in a big box, and don't ever put a big item and try to cram it into a super, super small box with no padding, because guaranteed if it's big and it's heavy, it's probably going to come flying out of the box if you don't pad it right. So you definitely want to make sure that none of your dimensions are just, see, eBay, shipping gets kind of crazy when the dimensions start getting usually over about 26 inches, 24, 26, something like that. So that is a tough kind of thing to figure out. Like when you're at a garage sale and you're looking at something that's a little bit longer, sometimes it could be a snowboard, golf clubs, it could be a tennis racket. These things start having dimensions that are getting close to around 26. And some of those things, weigh some. They weigh some decent amounts. So weight plus weird dimensions usually leads to crazy shipping prices. And so if you ever encounter a crazy shipping price, it's not like you can turn around from it, because if you've sold it, you're likely on the screen where you have to ship it out already. Go ahead, ship it out, make the mistake, and just learn from it. That's pretty much what you got to do. But also, when you get something big and it's kind of bulky, try to move it on the local market first, okay? Before you do eBay, try to move it on the local market first. Craigslist, OfferUp, and you can even do these local Facebook groups that I hear about. But there are a million ways to make money, all right? A million ways to make money. There's not a million minutes in the day. But how do you start selling online on eBay? Learn the eBay algorithm. Watch a lot of the shows that are on YouTube from various resellers discussing what it takes to, make less mistakes on eBay, because that's important. I think I've made a video or two about that. I know Rakin has. Every single reseller out there has made a video about making mistakes on eBay and the best tips on eBay. So watch those videos, try to find them. I think that's the best way I can answer it. Ricardo Garola, how much is it to sign up for the Green Room? Go to greenroomuniversity.com and everything else is right there. Check it out. Rather than make this like a sales type show, I would much rather make it a Q&A, but definitely go check it out, greenroomuniversity.com. Okay. Passion for Passion Pit. I like this question. When do you start figuring out taxes? Taxes are something I figure out right about right now. And the reason why is because this is about the time of the year where most of those things in the mail come, where it's your official tax form or 1099 or whatever. Those things start flying in. So I have a little drawer in my office that is just dedicated to tax stuff that has come in. And what makes it easy for me to do taxes is to see how I did last year's taxes. And so I take that kind of template, move it to 2016, and I kind of not copy, but I kind of remember, okay, this is where I got to put this number, that number. And then my tax professional is only 7 miles down the road. My wife uses that. I use it. Tons of my friends use it. Some of the Green Room members do use it. And yeah, for the most part, she talks to me about the deductions that we can do with gym, right, as a business part, office as a business thing, and she discusses with me random stuff like cell phone bills, I want to not electricity, but other things. So there's a lot of things that you can write off in your business as well. She's always encouraged me to keep all your receipts. Doesn't matter if you're subscribing to something like Adobe Illustrator, right, or something as simple as bubble wrap. Keep all your receipts, track them in a certain way, and that's one of the things I'm doing in 2017 is like really tracking, very like not spending a whole lot of time at it, but having a process down to when I buy something online or whatever, it's like have the receipt printed out, put into a manila envelope, don't ever revisit it until I get audited if that ever happens. So anyway, but this is about the time where I start messing with taxes is right about now. Okay, so there's some more questions coming in. Rick Remax, thank you so much. And Facebook making a good comment right there. Okay, so yeah, so Resell says, does eBay send you tax forms when you start a business reselling? My eBay tax, I know my Amazon tax forms are ready on Amazon. My eBay ones, you can get them off eBay as well if you want to. I can't remember if they sent, no, they don't send anymore. Because there might be like this thing that I clicked, a button I clicked where it was like, opt for no paper mailing kind of stuff, and I think I did that. So I believe whenever I look for the eBay thing, I have to get it off eBay's site, if I'm not mistaken. But there was a time where eBay was sending, yes, physical tax form. Yes, they were. In fact, I think that was only like 2 years ago. Okay, so I'll kind of let you guys know what I'm like messing with lately. So if the people in the Green Room know what's going on, I'm on the verge of creating a private label product, okay? And it's going to be kind of interesting because it's not going to be the stereotypical way that we all think about where you get a product and you want to rank on page 1 of Amazon or page 2, a couple scrolls with a thumbs, on the mouse pad. That's where you want to be based on reviews. That's not going to be one of those. It's an actual brand. I'm building a brand. So, and when I say that, I'm actually, tomorrow is one of those days where I go and file my USPTO, my trademark on my brand as well. But I have to hear back a couple things from my graphic designer first before moving forward with that. But that is what I'm creating right now. I'm creating a brand and it's going to have to deal with clothing. All right. And I'll leave it like that. People in the Green Room know what's up. And they know that because I've done 2 write-ups in the Green Room already. I'll probably do a 3rd one probably Monday after I figure out this trademark thing. And the reason why I'm trademarking it is because I know with my work ethic, I have a feeling this thing's going to do pretty well. So it's one of those things that needs to be protected, right? That's the reason why you want to do a trademark. Doesn't need a patent or anything because there's, this is just clothing. There's nothing to patent of clothing. We all know what clothing is. There's no weird design about the clothing either. It's just going to be basic clothing. And yeah. Now, how it's going to be primarily driven and marketed, that's a different story for another day. But I think if you watch more of me, you'll kind of figure out what's going on. So anyway, I'll just leave it like that. That is something that I have been working on for the past month and a half now, actually probably 2 months. And it was one of those things that was just bothering me to no end for the past 6 months. So I decided, like, you know what? I'm not the kind of person who wants to go, well, what would have happened? if I didn't go down this road, or I wonder what would have happened if I had. I wonder what might happen if I do it this way. I'm in to make the mistakes, all right? I'm in to do this the real way, the right way, and I'm gonna make mistakes. I already know it's gonna happen. There are weird hurdles already in the way. Don't know if I'm gonna go domestic or foreign when I build these things, but it's gonna be very interesting. So anyway, it's gonna be really cool. The brand's already been done. All the social media stuff has been laid down. Got all the stuff for that. The passwords, the foundation's been laid down. It's more of a trademark thing at this point. So that's where I am. I have been working on that. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. That's right, 14 Amelina. So it's one of the, you know, I look back at the reselling journey, and I don't want to say like a journey like it's over or anything, but I am kind of grabbing onto the one or a couple parts of the reselling journey that I still really enjoy. And those two things are, I really enjoy garage sales a lot. Thrifting, yes. All right, I really enjoy those two things. I enjoy the green room a bunch because the green room, right, company that I'm involved with, has proven to be, I thought it was going to be all resellers coming in. And while it is on the foundational aspect, it is all resellers that are coming in. These are really smart people that are doing bigger and better things with you know, their time and their resale money. They're like trying really hard to spider web in each and every direction to make money that is as passive as it comes. They're building, you know, crazy businesses for themselves, warehouses, all that kind of stuff. And I'm really impressed by them. So I like the green room a lot. And so that's definitely one of my biggest focuses of 2017, outside of hanging on to what really makes me happy, which are garage sales and thrifting. Like those are the two things that I still, like when I zoom in to a thrift store or I zoom into a garage sale, I'm happy. And that's really important, is to maintain your happiness. Like, I'm not the kind of person, like if I'm unhappy even for a second, or I just see that it's just wearing down on me, or, oh, I have to list X items today, or any of that kind of stuff to maintain stuff, like I'm not happy with that. I'm happy when I challenge myself. I go to garage sales, I go to thrift stores, and I find stuff. I put them on eBay, Amazon, as I do please, and I make money. I like that, right? Like it's one of the income streams, right? It's definitely not the bulk, but it's one of the income streams that I have, and I still enjoy it a lot. So I'll be focusing on that, the green room and garage selling and thrifting. The other things I'm going to focus on a lot this year, is building that private label brand. All right, that's really important to me, and it's gonna be amazing. So follow my journey. You can figure out how to do it. Everyone here knows what's up. And then the last one is to remain as fit as possible, so I can stay on this earth as long as possible, so I can spend time with my dogs and my wife and my brother and friends and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's, you know, staying fit is super key, and it's very high. In fact, it's through my entire life in the past 2 decades, it's been the most important thing in my life. Actually, over 2 decades now. Fitness has really brought me a lot of impressive things, and I believe it could do the same for you, but you have to start if you haven't done it yet. Okay. More questions. I kind of want to do less talking, more questions, or less about me, more about your questions. Yeah, I think a lot of people are kind of like figuring out whether this item is going to be good. Yeah, so it's this clothing brand, right? It's a clothing brand I'm creating. I'm really excited about it. You guys will eventually hear about it. Don't worry. Miner's Treasures says, hey, Chris, can you pay monthly? Miner's Treasures was on a ride along last week in the spaceship. Probably be edited in about 2 weeks. I'm just getting around to like editing some of these videos. Finally, gosh, I am backlogged until October. So I have 4 to 5 ride-alongs to edit. I have vacation footage from Dominican to edit. I was there in December. I have vacation footage from last week or the week before when I was snowboarding in Colorado. I wanted to show some of that. That's pretty cool. So yeah, but Miner's Treasures was in the spaceship, and his ride along will be edited soon. He says, Chris, can you pay monthly in the Green Room? Yes, we have a monthly option. Check it out, greenroomuniversity.com. Yeah, and Chris Napier says, if I didn't have to pay for the full year up front, I would definitely join the Green Room. We do have a monthly option. Like, I don't advise it because clearly you save all the money by doing yearly. And by yearly, you get to build those business relationships and get the family aspect. And the Facebook algorithm also works with you more because Facebook kind of figures out what you look at the most and it puts it high on your feed. So in a given month, if you are still a part of the green room in the first month, it's, you know, the algorithm hasn't quite caught up yet. So it usually happens around month 2 or 3, and then it starts populating like the first thing on your phone. Like when I open my cell phone, it's like the very first, probably 4 to 5 thumb scrolls. All right. So, but of course I'm in it all the time. All right. So Holly Darling Wagner, what's up? Green Room for Life. Hey, thanks for being in there. Good to see you. I've talked to her even before Green Room started, just as a one-on-one kind of personal coaching thing for fitness. So yeah, you know, I do believe that the things that you pay, you know, you pay your stuff forward. I don't know how much more time I'll have doing that for anybody, but I definitely, you know, saw that she needed some help, and I tried to help her as much as possible. And yeah, you know, I think things come around as they do in this life. So how's the Bonafide family doing? Holly, yeah, wife is doing well. Dogs are doing well. Might start raining in Austin, Texas in 3 days. So my mind's thinking I got to get 3 mountain bike rides in and make the most of this weekend. The good thing is that the rain comes on Sunday, which for me means garage sales are still on for Saturday. So that is good. Dutch Week's #1. Glad I caught you again. I'm shipping my second FBA shipment this afternoon. Congratulations. That's always a good feeling. My first FBA shipment actually was facilitated by Young, and College Picker, so both, but mostly Young. So shout out to Young out there. He used to be a Green Room admin. I got a lot of respect for the guy, and he was the one who walked me through FBA. And so we do have an FBA course on the Green Room, but on the Green Room site, but it was just one of those things that, you know, I can't imagine trying to do FBA on my own now. Like, it'd be such a headache. So always trying to find yourself around like-minded people, and that way you can share ideas, grow further together, et cetera, et cetera. Which brings me to another point real quick. I want to give a quick shout out to all the resellers that are involved with the Reseller Rally. Quite impressive thing that you guys are throwing, and very proud of you guys. All you guys out there and gals that are part of that, that are going to be speaking there, that are throwing this event down. I'm really, really, really proud of you guys. So I hope it goes well. If my summer wasn't so crunched up, I would have bought a ticket and I would have been there, right? I think it's a fantastic idea. Getting around like-minded people is a really, really good thing. And trust me, I've run 4. This is to be the 4th Green Room meetup that we have in July 15th. And I got to tell you, these are the most fun times ever to spend with people. But yeah, when you get around people, it's fun. It's fun because you don't realize what is going on because you're trying to control the situation so much, but everyone else is talking to everyone, and I'm just sitting here trying to vlog the whole thing and interact with everybody. Like, my heart and my mind races like a million miles an hour for that entire week of my life. But it is a lot of fun. We're completely drained when we're done. Like Steve, Eric, myself, my wife, like just no more energy after that week because it is just nonstop. And we do a lot of things when the Green Room meetup comes to town. I don't want to take any light off the Reseller Rally, by the way, but I'll just say one thing about the Green Room meetup is we focus on a lot of different things. Like we focus on reselling. We focus on reselling. We focus on friendships, bonding, family, outdoors time, and getting out of your comfort zone. And yeah, and adult beverages, right? If you can figure that part out. But the Reseller Rally, I think, is going to be a really big hit. And I think 200 tickets was a little too low. But I'm still really, really proud of you guys out there for doing it. So what else have we got here? All right, questions. I'm the worst at filling in dark space. So I always do stupid things like that, like questions. What are we going to do here? Blah, blah, blah. I'm really bad at that. So I'm trying to get better. I don't like awkward silences, if you can't figure that part out. I'm going to go for like 3 more questions, and then I'm going to eat a sunflower butter sandwich on gluten-free bread with organic strawberry jam. I'm going to eat 2 of those bad boys because I'm on a weight gain right now, right? I'm kind of like on the bigger side of what Bonafide hustlers should be right now. So, you know, it's one of those things I got to eat like almost every 3 hours. And yeah. G. Figueroa says, hey, Bonafide, have I ever met Craigslist Hunter? No, I've never met Craigslist Hunter. I think it would be fantastic to meet the guy. He puts out some crazy content. I mean, crazy content. And I just actually watched his other video today. I liked it. I did comment on it. And it was the one where he's in his shop and he's talking about the scam with the gift card. Pretty good video, right? He talks about the reseller rally as well. So check out that video. But yeah, I think he would be a lot of fun to hang out with, him or his business partner. They both kind of sound to me like Soviet submarine villains. Like they get, or I know he's Polish, but like they have such an interesting accent that when I hear of it, I think like Bond villains. I mean, it's just, anyway, this is what my mind thinks, right? But yeah, I would love to meet Pete. I would love to meet him. Here's a great question from Joshua Davidson. Bonafide, did I have a lot of support starting out? It's a great question. When I first started out, my very first video was filmed in this garage with that red background. I don't even think the gym mirrors were there. They weren't. The gym wasn't even here. So I think it was even still a garage where I could pull a car in. Right now I can't. But did I have a lot of support when I started out? I didn't. I mean, I started out as dry as possible with YouTube, and I started YouTube, and I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I started it because I wanted it to drive a book that I was creating at that time. Lo and behold, after about 6 months of doing YouTube, I figured out that my book wasn't written correctly. That book ended up becoming Flip That Shh. You know what I'm talking about. It's my first book. So it wasn't done right, and I figured it out because people were commenting and like, hey, Bonafide, is this in your book? I was giving hints about I'm making a book, and people were like, is this going to be in your book? Is that going to be in your book? Why don't you talk about this in your book? And then I looked at my book and I was like, crap, I didn't talk about any of that stuff. So then, you know what I did? I was almost done with the book, actually. I scrapped the entire book, I threw it in the trash, and I started over, all right? I started over because I wanted to make a book that was relevant, and I wanted to make a book that was semi-timeless. And that book kind of leaves the reader right before I started FBA about 3 years ago. So that's really when the book left. It kind of just drops off. I was thinking about doing a Flip That Shh 2.0, right? Which like what has happened after. But essentially the book ends right when I was starting FBA. I put some shout outs in there as well to some of the older YouTube channels that I was watching at that time. But I had no support, no. The only support came from the people out there in YouTube land, and luckily, majority of my actual subscribers were good subscribers and they were supportive. And I guess the rest is kind of like, and I don't even think I'm that great of a guy. So like I would say the rest is just history, but like I'm not that great of a person. I'm not special. I just did kind of like what I thought I would want to do. And I wanted to share the hustling journey with other people out there because I was having really good success with it back then. And I wanted to make sure that I conveyed somehow that way across. And I thought, you know, 2 birds with 1 stone. I could make money on a book and they could learn from my channel and then pick up the book. And the book did decently well. In fact, it's got 4.5 stars on Amazon with 50 ratings, something like that. And yeah, so that was the first step into a paid product that I ever did. And it was kind of fun. It was a lot of fun. It was a total pain in the butt, tons of mistakes made when it was uploaded into the Amazon Prime thing. It's like all this formatting has to be done. It's so annoying. And same with smashwords.com, which it's over there as well. And it was, you know, if anybody ever thinks that success comes with no mistakes, like, boy, are you going to be surprised when you try anything that's worth anything in life. So everything comes with mistakes. Everything comes with a price. And usually that price is time and complete frustration. So, all right, Chris Napier says, you are my hero. I'll be starting my own channel soon. Hey, send me on Facebook, Bonafide Hustler Facebook, that channel. I want to see it. I can help you any way that I can. Man, if there were some people that would help me in my first 100 videos, I would have totally taken that. But I just kind of did my own thing stubbornly. And it was only you know, funny thing is, and funny, I think you've probably seen the ride along where I discussed this, but the ride alongs on my channel started from a subscriber's comment. I'm not kidding. So think about that for a second. Like, that wasn't my idea, but it was more of like, what do you want to see more on the Bonafide Hustler channel? And they were like, we want to see less of you with the whiteboard. We want to see you on the hunt in your car. And I was like, God, all right. So it's going to be a lot more editing for me, but I still did it. So that was a subscriber's comment. Crazy. So Blackhawk Surplus, here's a great remark. I'm following on your lead on planning several vacations a year, having something to always look forward to. Any tips for planning and how many trips do I usually take? All right, so this year, we're not going to count Dominican though, because that was right before the new year. But I've been only on one trip, I think. Not 100% sure. But I have one trip, another one. I consider kind of like the green room meetup to be a vacation. I'm going to be honest with you. I really do. So there's 4 right there. California, see my parents. Might see College Picker in Thailand. So I'm probably going to rake up, if everything goes well, I'm going to try to rake up about 7 or 8 trips this year. All right. And when people go, oh my God, that's a crazy amount of trips, just remember the most recent one I took was only like 5 or 6 days long. Some of them might be 11 days long. The one that's going to be in Vegas is only 5 days long. So it's not full weeks on almost every single one. But certain ones where I can stay for a longer period of time and it's more subsidized, like if I go to see Eric, I probably won't be paying for lodging. If I go see my parents in California, I don't pay for lodging. And those, I'm more inclined to stay a little bit longer because it saves money and it's a fun way to get away from town. So can I make any suggestions on doing some really, really good planning and how many trips? Here's one of the best things I can give you guys, right? If you are actually going to plan a trip, if you want this trip to be really like not worth it, but worth it in a soulful sense, all right? Like deep inside, you remember it and something you always want to talk about, and your friends kind of go, holy crap, that was the craziest trip ever. I saw your pictures and like, how do you do things like that? Like I get that question all the time. And it's because I do the show with, I do the trip with a premise, all right? There's always got to be a premise on the trip, meaning there's got to be something that you are itching to do in these places. Like when I do the premise on the Utah trip was mountain biking, exploring, off-roading, and hiking. Like there's 4 premises on this trip, and we went to 2 places, Colorado and Moab, Utah, essentially. So you explore the premise in each one of those places, and it turns out to be an amazing vlog and an amazing time. But if you go to some place like with no premise and you're not expecting anything, while that is kind of fun to have no plans, I think it's more fun to plan a little bit, but back it with a premise. And I don't care if this premise is like, I want to eat the junkiest food or the best burgers in the town, and I want to go to 5 different towns in the USA and have the best burger. I don't care, but like make the premise happen, because the premise is what gets you out there, and it gets you doing the local stuff, and it gets you off the beaten path, right? Pitching Peso says, I was watching Facebook, and the party is over here on YouTube. That's right. Oh man, I got Craigslist stuff coming through. Okay. Something about the whiteboard. I think, let me answer this question. I think it comes from Brock, by the way. Orange Elephant, bring back the whiteboard. Yeah. So like, that's kind of like a funny statement, because back in the day I used to have a whiteboard, and if you ever watch my first videos, I talk about cringe factor, like maximum level. Not only was I like major cringe and super uncomfortable, but when you watch it now and you see how I am now, you're going to realize, holy crap, this guy came a long way to be who he is now. The funny thing is, I've always been this type of person behind the scenes. Like, it's just being in front of the camera and interacting with strangers on YouTube can get a little bit paralyzing at first. So my first videos on YouTube, I left them up. I could have taken them down. And I know some YouTubers that are prominent take their stuff down in the very beginning because they don't think it's relevant. I think it's very relevant to have the first videos up, because it shows where I came from and it shows what YouTube can do for you. So YouTube has been one of the main, YouTube is the main reason why the Green Room even exists, right? There would be no admins that have met each other across the country. You know, there would be none of that. Actually, I'll take it one step back. Hustling is the ultimate foundation to get the money to even start the Green Room, to get the money to even start traveling, to have people come see me, I see them, and we form alliances through food. All that costs money, right? So hustling was the primary thing that drove all that. So there are quite amazing things that can happen from hustling, whether you pay off your car, start paying off your house, or you buy some cool stuff, or go on cool trips, or even build your own membership site in the background. You know, hustling can provide some really amazing opportunities for you guys out there. So definitely check that out more. And if you are finding yourself having successes and you're excited for more stuff, and you're watching a bunch of YouTube videos, I'm going to tell you right now, make your channel, all right? Make a channel, get in front of the camera, and get uncomfortable and do it. Because, you know, YouTube is quite an interesting type of driver, or driving type device, that has a lot of functionality behind it. You can go live, you can interact in all these different ways. You can sell stuff right off of annotations and other random iCards and all this really weird stuff, but it's an incredible, incredible platform. So if you think eBay is incredible and you think Amazon's incredible, I'm telling you, YouTube's really incredible. So think about that. Elvis, what's up, Spy? Says, Bonafide for 2020. Dude, I would never get in politics, ever. Chris Green joined my Facebook one. Hey, what's up, Chris Green? Good to see you. Hopefully you're still there. Don't know. All right, so Pinching Pesos says, YouTube is amazing. Totally helped me with my, I remember this about you, Pinching Pesos. I remember how you were like, I don't know, or whatever. I'm like, just go for it, you know? So she says, it totally helped me with my self-esteem, putting yourself out there and just being used. The best thing you can do, right? It helps in your personal life and how you feel about the world. You're totally right about that, Deborah. It was good to see you last week, by the way. Just ran into her in a barbecue joint here in town. But yeah, totally right about that. It's really you versus you out there, but you know, there are a lot of people that watch you on YouTube. The second you make a video on YouTube, you are literally exposed potentially to what could be like 300 million people, maybe more. I mean, maybe more than that. It's unbelievable. So yeah, think about it for a second. And there are a lot of weirdos out there on YouTube, and there are a lot of jealous people on YouTube, and there are a lot of great people on YouTube. And hopefully if you do the right job, the great people come your way and are supportive. So anyway, but yeah, congratulations to your channel. I heard you might be speaking at that reseller rally. I think you are, but like I said, you might want to rewind this video when it becomes non-live and check out what I said about reseller rally. And Kenny Viper, this is a familiar face. What's up, Bonafide Hustler? Glad I can catch you live. Good to see you. What's up, Chris Green over there in Facebook land? Yeah, and Pinching Pesos kind of hit this on the head. There are way more great people than hateful people out there. That's totally true. And going back to what she said, get uncomfortable, right? Get in front of the people and just take those chances, man. You only live one life, okay? You live once, all right? Don't live with regret, all right? Try everything. Try everything, and if you hate it, that's okay. Try it again. If you hate it after that, maybe you should stop doing it. But try things twice and go forward, right? There's enough reselling content out there for everyone out there, and there's enough reselling channels to where other people can learn, like, hey, I can do this now. I can be part of this community. It's inviting, and no one's like that much better just because I have 20K or Raken's got 50K or Craigslist Hunter got 48K. You know, this doesn't mean anything, right? This doesn't mean a single thing other than we tried hard. But don't ever look at us as like kings or gurus or whatever, you know, like we just built a following. And we're always down to share and help you guys out. Like, I think I speak for everyone out there. I really do. So you can hit us up on Facebook and ask us little tips. As long as you guys don't write crazy paragraphs of tirades, you know, Encyclopedia Britannica type stuff to me, I'll probably read it. And I say that kind of like with a smile, because you would be surprised how many like Encyclopedia Britannica posts I get. And I just can't get to it, right? I just can't get to it. So anyway, yeah. Win by Doing. So I like that name. Win by Doing says, you're very natural in front of the camera. Kudos to you. It was not easy. All right. Like I said, I was this person before the YouTube channel even came around. I was in fact, if you saw me in my prime, you'd be like, dude, this guy's out of control. But I've calmed down quite a bit. I still get way crazy like behind the scenes. I really do. And yeah, so I keep it a little bit more proper here on the YouTube channel because I know that youngins will watch this, youngsters eventually, and I know certain people's kids at the Green Room Meetup watch my channel, so I try to keep it pretty PG, try not to ever cuss or do anything really stupid. If it's a really dirty inside joke, I make sure it's like major like high level to where like a kid would never get what I'm talking about. But yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Like YouTube's one of those places where kids also like go around looking at videos. For me, I just want to make sure I give good content where I can and spread the good word. So Kenny says, Green Room is the best group of people, very helpful no matter how big of rock stars that they are. You know, we're not rock stars or anything like that. We do business at our personal level, however big our eBay stores are or small they are, or bigger our FBA stores or small they are. You know, content is content. Like any way that we can share that content, have a medium to share it, YouTube or in the Green Room, I think is a great way. Don't ever feel like you have to measure up to anybody out there. It's very important, right? Because that does not matter, all right? None of that stuff matters. What matters is doing the right hustle. And if you have success repeatedly, is to share that, all right? Share that with other people. Sean L says, I'm hating my 9-to-5. You guys inspire me. Honestly, I hated my 9-to-5 too. I really did, to the point where since I was a territory manager for a consulting firm, I actually started going to pawn stores and thrift stores during my route. I would get ahead in my day just so I can go hustling. So it was kind of crazy. Yeah, but I wouldn't say I hate it. I had a really good setup. I mean, a really good setup. The type of setup that paid for my MBA education as well, which is crazy because that would have been a lot of money out of my pocket. But I was disliking it. I think anybody in 9-to-5, unless you are the creator or right under or partner, like, probably don't like it. And I get it because you're kind of seeing your life slowly waste away. And I felt the same way. So that's one of those times to realize, what do you really care about? And start making small actions to get there, right? For me, it was like, well, I care about, hustling. I really like it. I care about just things with finance. So I got, did a finance MBA. And then after that, I was like, man, what I'm doing now has nothing to do with finance or hustling. So I got out, but I did a very well calculated out, and took about a year of saving up and all that kind of stuff. I did a good out. In fact, it was a respectful out too, to where I didn't burn any bridges. That's important. So if you want to get out, don't just hastily get out. Like, unless you have one of those like really bad jobs, but like, if you have a good job with good people and good camaraderie, you kind of want to keep that around in case the next step doesn't make it, right? In case the next step fails. I was actually talking to someone from my company, my previous company back in 2009, came over the other day and borrowed some snowboard gear from me. And he was like, have you ever talked to X, who used to be my ex-boss? And I was like, no, I haven't talked to X in a while. He's like, dude, you should just talk to him. Would you ever come back? I was like, I mean, I don't know. What's the setup now? Like, I don't know. I really don't think I would, though, because I've created, all this stuff in the background. But it was a fun job. The question was, would I come back? And I was like, I mean, if it pays like double, then maybe I would, but it would never pay double. So anyway, I'm not going to go back. It's one of those kind of ha kind of things. And I asked about how the job was, and he's having fun with it. Of course, he moved out of his position up. So yeah, it's one of those things you just kind of, I don't know where I'm going with this, but you have to really enjoy that 9-to-5 if you're going to stay in that 9-to-5. So if you don't want to be in that 9-to-5, start building now, get out of there now, not get out of there now, but start planning and do a respectful kind of exit. Yeah. All right. Last question. I promised myself, God, it's 2:30. Man, I don't know if I'll get this mountain bike ride in today or not, but here we go. Scott Sloan. I can never repay the debt I owe the Bonafide hustler. He introduced me to reselling through his videos on YouTube over 3 years ago. And now I do this for a living. Thank you, hustler. You're so welcome, Scott. Thank you for that comment. Yeah, I think it's a great comment like that. So 14 Emelina says, can I make a video about my master Google Docs sheet? You touched on it in a video. Can you elaborate? I can elaborate. If I can remember correctly what's on my Google sheet. I mean, I just put some eBay stuff in there. When I say it like that, I mean, some of these boxes, right? That box right there for sure is going out today, right? So when that box sells, whatever's in that box is ready on an eBay sheet. It's awaiting a sold price, a shipping price, and a sold date as well. So 3 things are lacking right now on that eBay sheet. In fact, they're not lacking now, but that's what I'm saying. When I sell something on eBay, those 3 cells on my eBay sheet are lacking. So what do I have on my eBay sheet, which is a Google Doc? It's in the drive, which means I can access it from a cell phone. I can access it from a laptop anywhere in the world, and it's always ready to go. So it's not like it's only tied to one computer and I can't work on it until I get home. Like, no, it's like that's what I love about it, because it helps with the antique booth. When I drop something off at the antique booth, even before it makes it on a video or comes down to a Bonafide Fresh Finds video that I throw in the green room, like a lot of times I put these items directly into the booth quickly right after a garage sale day. So I have to have that sheet ready to go on my phone so I can get the number of my inventory down, know what to put on the tag of the item. So, all right, so fast forward. What does this sheet have on it? It's got several tabs on the bottom, first of all. Okay, so every tab's I have a tab for garage sales, the tab for FBA. I have a tab for other, which is other places in town I might get inventory. I have a tab for pawn shops. I have a tab for a secret store, which I do business with. I don't want to say what it is. And then I have tabs for exclusive local thrifts, like exclusively local thrift kind of places. Then I have a tab for picks. When I get something from someone's property, for example, then I have a tab for that. And then through those tabs, if I click on one tab, which could be the correct, let's just say it's the garage sale tab. I click on it. From left to right, I have the item, right? I have the buy price. I have the sold price. I have the shipping price. I have the estimated fee that's going to go along based upon the sales price, right? It's just a little calculation that's in there. I have, what else do I have in there? Oh, I have the date I bought it, and I have the date I sold it. Yeah, so if you do all those things correctly, by the end of the year, it's really easy to make an Excel formula, because Excel formulas do work on Google Sheets. It's really easy to make an Excel formula to get the numbers that you are looking for, like actual profit versus what you're seeing on your eBay, form, the W, whatever the thing is called. So it's easy to get and figure out like what's your actual profit of the year. So I do record my shipping and all that kind of stuff, and I put it in a doc. And that way, if I ever get bored one day, I want to see like what were the best selling items of the month, like I can check that out. And I can also check that out for the antique booth as well, because I update that as well. Okay, so yeah, there's some numbers going around right here. Okay, so I hope I elaborated on that. I pretty much have to get out of here, guys. It was a good little Q&A. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We got 69 viewers live on YouTube. We have 18, 17 on Facebook. A lot of interesting stuff is coming down the way, all right? Like I said, if you want to review the video, you can. I know I talked about it in the middle part, the little secret private label product that's coming around. Thank you for the likes, by the way, on Facebook. But, do your hustle, do your thing. Have fun out there, all right? Do the best that you can with your time. Very important. Always know what your time is worth. Super important. And then check me out on my other channel, all right? When you guys get a chance on the Boddamn channel, because you're going to start seeing this setup right here. And I have a really strong feeling that people are going to give, a lot of watching to the physical fitness type stuff that's coming around really soon. So we got Rake and Profit in the feed. Of course, he shows up at the very end to miss the entire broadcast. But anyway, it's good to see you, Steve. We got someone from Tijuana, Mexico. But anyway, I'm going to probably do one of these like maybe every 2 weeks or something like that. That's why I call this one episode 1. If I couldn't get your question, maybe jot it down and wait for episode number 2 or something like that. And if you are on YouTube and you're wondering how the hell can I get, how can I know when these live broadcasts are happening? By the subscribe button on YouTube of Bonafide Hustler. There's a bell, all right? Hit the bell, very important. And if you're on Facebook, of course, it just notifies you when Bonafide Hustler goes live. This is my second live video on Facebook, by the way. But yeah, the bell on YouTube is how you do it, apparently. So there we go. Rake and Profit saying, smash the like button, darn, LOL. Yeah. And one last thing, we're going to have some really epic footage coming out in about a month where Rake and Profit, College Picker, they're all going to be in Austin, Texas. Might do a micro meetup here in Austin before we make our way to ASD, the all-powerful ASD conference in Las Vegas. Going to be a lot of fun. And yes, we're going to be actively supporting the green room, repping the green room, and being there, learning the wholesale game should we choose to do the wholesale game, right? That's the reason why I'm going out there, is because I know that I'm creating private label stuff, but I know out there are some clothing wholesale type people. Maybe I can do business with them and do the printing on some other place. I don't know, but you're never going to figure out anything in life without going out there, making mistakes, committing some money to it. But it's always good to commit money, all right, when you're around like-minded people that are going through the entire journey too. So, all right, guys, it's good to see everyone. I will cancel Facebook now, and I'll see you guys on the next Bonafide Hustler video. Thanks for watching. Hit the thumbs up button if you get a chance. It lets me know that I did a good job. God, hold on. All right, so it lets me know I did a good job, and I can do episode number 2, maybe about 2 weeks for you guys. Take it easy.